What if the real secret to achieving the life we desire isn't in just working tirelessly towards it, but it also lies in how we embody those desires? Today I'm going to share with you powerful mindset shit that not only changed my approach to pursuing my goals, but also dramatically increase my success rate in achieving them. Welcome guys, Mike is here, and this is Games of Reality channel, where I'm excited to share with you everything that I learned about manifestation, self-development principles, and how all of this actually helped me to influence my reality to my will. Using these principles, I was able to finally succeed with my business, start to travel the world, and most importantly, it allowed me to work every single day on the things that I love working on. Awesome. So without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. Now, the interesting thing is that when it comes to manifestation in my life, my focus was always on trying to use the law of attraction effectively to manifest my goals and attract circumstances and people into my life. But I was not very good in using the law of attraction successfully and intentionally. I saw how it works and I saw why it works, and I had many experiences where I attracted things into my life, but it was all unintentional with things that I didn't really care much about. But when it came to bigger goals and things I really wanted, I just couldn't use it effectively until I realized that the law of attraction was the wrong for me to focus on. You see, the law of attraction says that things that are alike are drawn to each other. Birds of feather flock together. The rundown building is more likely to attract malcontent hanging around the building, right? Because like attracts like. But you see, I realized that the law of attraction is really just a process of matching two frequencies that are alike together. And so me fantasizing and daydreaming about what I wanted and wanting it, that's actually nothing. You know, for example, I wanted to attract money, and I did in a certain way. I saw people walking around with huge amounts of money, or I saw people talking about the money, but it was not really the outcome I wanted, because the law of attraction only brought me things that are equal to my frequency. My frequency was me feeling a certain way about my current reality, and it was me thinking about money from a certain perspective. And so that's what I attracted into my life. But at this point, something very interesting happened, because I found out about Neville Goddard, and he talked about what we know as the law of assumption. Now, the law of assumption is based on the premise, and I'm going to put it in a very simple term. Law of assumption is based on the premise that everything in this world is made out of the one and the very same thing that manifests in different forms. To say the Neville word, everything is consciousness manifesting in legions and forms, in infinite legions and forms. And he says that if you want to experience what you want, you need to change the state of your consciousness and make it what you want to experience. So he says you need to basically take the consciousness of the person who lives the life that you want to live to manifest that life you want to live. Or to put it in simpler terms, you need to become the person that has the life you want first, and then the physical manifestation of it will follow. Does it make sense so far? Let me guys know in the comment section below if everything that I covered so far makes sense. And the easiest way to do it is through the law of assumption. Basically, we assume that we already are who we want to be. And the most important ingredient to all of this is the feeling. The feeling of your wish being fulfilled. Now, when I read this, it all started to click for me. The law of assumption was the key for me to use the law of attraction intentionally, effectively, and successfully. And there are a couple of reasons why the feeling is actually the secret to creating the life that we want. First of all, the subconscious mind is the most powerful gift we all have. It's capable of creating anything that we want if we know how to use it well and how to program it. The subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between future or the past. It is always present in this very moment. And so how you feel right now communicates to your subconscious mind who you are being. And the feeling is the secret to who you are. How you feel is who you are. And so the more you can tap into the feeling of the future you want to create and feel it right now, the more you're communicating to our subconscious mind who we are being. How you feel is equal to how you think, and how you think is what determines what choices you are going to make, what actions you are going to take, and ultimately the results or the experiences we are going to have in our life based on those actions that we took, which in turn will create even more corresponding emotions. And so the more we can communicate the feeling of the future to our subconscious mind, the more we will think like the person who has what we want to have. And our brain begins to reorganize itself, and it becomes a map for our future. Buddha said it beautifully, that what you think about the most is what you become. And today, we know this as neuroplasticity, but to really impress our thoughts and our subconscious mind, feeling is the key to it. So that's the first key. That's what's happening from the brain's perspective. Now let's take a look at what is happening from an energetic perspective. The reality that we want already exists out there. We are not creating it. The creation is already done. It all already exists. All we need to do is actually to tune into that reality. And how do we do that? By the way we feel, and not always necessarily by the way we think. Because feeling, once again, is the energetic signature of who we are. I'm really going to use an analogy that helped me to understand this better. If you have a TV, it doesn't create the channel, it receives them, right? It only receives the channel. I can't receive on my TV two different channels on the same frequency, right? I can turn the knob up and down, and with each turn, the channel I receive changes. So the feeling is the knob by which you change the frequency. I want to find a feeling of my wish being fulfilled, to start tuning into the frequency to receive the channel that I want. And this is where the law of attraction actually starts to kick in. This is the process of matching two frequencies and that correspond with each other. So this is what I started to do. I started to ask myself, what does the reality I want to experience feel like? And so I closed my eyes and I started to imagine what I would do. I was thinking about it. Most importantly, I was feeling it. And we don't want to do this to create something in the future, because trying to create the future means that we are not in the reception channel right now. I visualize purely to feel the future of what I want right now, because it feels amazing to feel it. When you do this, you have a clear intention in your mind and you feel elevated emotions in your heart. And there's a coherence between your mind and your heart. And this is where the magic really starts to happen, because you are tuning into the reality by assuming that you already are. And also, you are rewiring your brain to look like the future has already happened. So it will take you there. So visualization is one of the first keys to use if we want to use the law of assumption. But there is a big difference to remember. When you are visualizing in order to try to create something in the future, it means that you're assuming that right now, this is not the reality. I'm not that person. It's not what I want to be. But when I visualize purely for the feeling itself, that it feels right, this is me assuming that I already am, just purely for fun. And now comes the second key. During the day, I remind myself of the feeling that I felt during the visualization. And again, do this purely for the feeling itself, purely for feeling good, not to get something out of it. Because we are teaching our body and mind what the future feels like. And in turn, our life starts to evolve according to those feelings. It's crazy how all of this works. Now, I just want to say a word of caution something that really hindered me for long. I thought that I had to feel the feeling of my future all the time. And it must be super strong and super intense, which I actually realize is far from the truth. It's not about the intensity of the feeling or how long I feel the feeling, but about how frequently I feel that way. The more often I can remind myself of my wish being fulfilled to any degree of the intensity of the feeling, the more I communicate to my subconscious mind, my new default state of being. And over time, this will become my new baseline, my new standard, my new me. And so the frequency, how often I feel it, is the key to using the law of assumption successfully, to transform my life and make it what I want it to be. The feeling is the secret to the universe, guys. I really learned my lesson with this, so give it a go. Focus on the feeling. What I did was I set myself a reminder for every 3 hours, and I reminded myself of the feeling of my wish being fulfilled until it started to be my predominant state, and the reality started to change accordingly to the way I feel. I hope it all makes sense so far, guys. So let me know in the comment section below. Awesome. And just before we wrap up, I want to go one more time over the key points that I shared with you that really worked for me. So the real magic started to happen for me once I started to align my feelings to the feelings of the future I would feel if my wish was fulfilled. The law of assumption teaches us to assume the identity of who we want to become, to feel our future now as if it's already here. This isn't just some mental exercise. It's also a powerful way to reprogram our subconscious mind to make our thoughts and feelings a blueprint for the life that we want to manifest. The frequency of the feeling, how often we feel the emotion of the future, is much more important than the intensity or the length of the feeling. Because the more frequently we remind of ourselves how we want to feel, the more default it will become. Start by visualizing the goal you want to have and connect to the feeling of that goal, what that would feel like. And not to get something out of it, but purely for feeling it right now. This is the true feeling, the true frequency of your future you want to have. And during the day, remind yourself as often as you can of that feeling. Actually, I created another video in which I go a little bit more in depth into the law of assumption and how to use it even more effectively. So if you are interested in in-depth explanation and all the nuances, check the video out at the end of this video. With that said, guys, if you find this video helpful, leave a like, leave a comment, share your thoughts on this subject. And if there are some questions I could answer, I would love to. Just leave the comment. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the noti bell so I can share with you and others more self-development principles that really help me and still help me to transform my life to this day. Share this video with one friend who needs to see this, and I will see you in the next episode right now.